Hello and welcome to Legion Logs. My name is Mark Sinazik, and in this episode, I'm going to be bringing some very interesting film news to you. So, I've been promising this episode will be about the Star Trek Fact Files. However, I've decided to make a quick little episode before I release that one. And this episode concerns some information that has only just today, this weekend, come out. It's interesting film news that I think is very important, deserves a whole heap of attention. So I'm devoting a whole episode to it. It's not going to be a very long episode, but it is going to be a very interesting episode. So this bit of news that has come out of the San Diego Comic-Con, which is happening over right now in the United States, is concerning Star Trek the Motion Picture. Now, there's been, for those of you who have been buying the Blu-ray movies or noticing the Trek movie Blu-rays, you would have noticed that there's a particular Blu-ray that's been missing. Star Trek the Motion Picture, the director's cut. It is an official cut. It exists. It exists on DVD, but has never been released on Blu-ray. Only the theatrical release has been released on Blu-ray, and this has been a problem because the theatrical release is quite subpar compared to the true vision of its director, Robert Wise. And we finally got that on DVD, that director's cut, and it really elevates the film because it really has allowed Robert Wise to complete the film to what he truly envisioned. And while it is still a slower paced film, it is more complete to what it should have been. So if you're expecting some drastically different movie from the director's cut, you'll be disappointed. However, that's not what Star Trek the Motion Picture was ever meant to be. It was never meant to be, a Star Wars knockoff. Action, blasts, everything. It was always going to be hard science fiction, deep and meaningful stuff. So if you're into that sort of science fiction, the motion picture, the director's cut, is something that's going to be right up your alley. Now, why does it exist in DVD and not Blu-ray? Well, when it was initially done and exported, the special effects that they did were only done so far. They were exported to a level suitable for DVD, which was, I think 720p or something like that. It's obviously nothing that would satisfy Blu-ray. And they would have to go back and it would be a very costly experience. That's what we've always been told. So this special edition director's cut of Star Trek the Motion Picture has only ever been out on DVD for years. And everyone wants the Blu-ray version. People want this movie on Blu-ray because it'll be even sharper, even clearer when they rescan the negative and all that. And for years, people have been dying to get it. Now, Paramount has finally entered talks with the team who did that, with that director's edition. The actual production team was a small production team that was supervised by Robert Wise at the time, who has since passed away, sadly. Rest in peace. And they've been given permission by Paramount to actually announce this, that talks are officially happening. So what that tells me is that this is happening. Paramount is serious. If they've given people the green light to discuss this openly, then I think the Paramount is extremely interested in getting this done. They want to see it happen. The fans want to see it happen. I think we're all set to see it released maybe, who knows, next year maybe. It would be great if it was released this year, if it was done this year. But we've only got, 5-6 months left of this year, so, that's maybe not. We are celebrating either this year or next year the 40th anniversary of the release of Star Trek the Motion Picture. So it makes sense that Paramount is using this to take advantage of this anniversary to do this Blu-ray, because apparently it's going to be very costly. So they want to be able to do it at a time when there's enough hype that they can make enough sales that they can make a great profit from this venture. So it is really up to us, the fans, to actually go out there and buy this Blu-ray and add it to our collection. Um, because obviously the flow-on effect will be when we make this one profitable, there is obviously all the other um, Blu-rays that we're wanting to see. The other Trek movies could do with a rescan from what I've read online. And also we've got the TV series Deep Space Nine and Voyager, which would be fantastic as Blu-ray releases. So if we can really make the motion picture Blu-ray profitable, if we can get out there and buy it and add it to our Blu-ray collection, because I mean, let's all be realistic. We are replacing our DVD collection. So if we can get the best Blu-rays, our DVDs will be moved on, as was our VHS. So let's prove to Paramount that we can do it. That's the big news. That's the big news I wanted to talk about. That's for the fans. Now, for everyone else who's wondering, what the hell is so different about director's cut of the motion picture, let me go back in time. Let me rewind the clock a little bit so you can understand why this means so much. The theatrical release of the motion picture was rushed. It was rushed into production. They were running low on time. They had very little time to get this film finished. There was all sorts of problems in post-production. The production itself went over time and massively over budget. It was a production that was plagued with problems. And so the vision of the director was lost because he simply ran out of time to deliver what he wanted. Famous things were, we never really got to see Vija, which is the main creature, is what all I'll say in case you haven't seen it. The main creature of the film that the Enterprise has to deal with. We never really see what it looks like. It's this giant cloud, but we know there's something inside it, but we never actually see in the theatrical release what is inside it. We have sequences on Vulcan, on the planet Vulcan, and it has no sky. It has no sky whatsoever. It's like the planet is stripped of atmosphere, which is, they've been able to go back and they've actually been able to show us, what that looks like. This is what that sequence is meant to look like. There is the music, which is fantastic and brilliant, but there was because it was rushed, because things were cut short. A proper sound mix, a proper music mix was never done. And in the director's cut, they were able to go back and redo that. So these are the sorts of things that really help elevate the film, really help push it out. There are sequences at the end that show the Enterprise and Vija's meeting. Trying not to give away spoilers here. Really shows that in a little bit more detail. So as a viewer, you can actually understand the dynamics of what's going on here. And it is a classic piece of science fiction. It deserves a Blu-ray release. It deserves to be presented as it was always meant to be presented. As I said before, Robert Wise has passed on, so this would be a fantastic opportunity to honor his memory and give a bit of glory to a film that doesn't get as much respect, I think, as it deserves. Certainly, it's not perfect. There are design elements such as the Starfleet uniforms, which, to be honest, they're not the best. However, the motion picture does give us the single greatest launch of the Starship Enterprise that we have ever seen. It's never been topped, and possibly it'll never be topped. The launching of the USS Enterprise refit under the command of Captain James T. Kirk is one of the greatest pieces of cinema you could ever watch. It's been described in one magazine as Enterprise porn, because the camera lovingly, caresses every angle and every curve of that magnificent starship. So I highly recommend you hunt it down purely for that scene. It is a magnificent scene. The visuals and the music go together really well. Filmmakers can really take point to see that it's okay to take your time with some things. It's okay to not rush, and that's a good example of when you shouldn't rush. Take your time, enjoy these visuals that you're creating. So that's the news. That's why it's so important. Um, with the director's cut, they go back and they fix all of these little issues. They fix it and they really make the film fantastic to watch. And it was released. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to see that film in its fullness, in its entirety, as we were always meant to see it. And a great launching point for all the other films. Obviously, it was followed up by another fantastic film, the best film in the franchise, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And that has been given the director's cut of that film has been given a Blu-ray release as well. So this is going to be a great complement to that. When they finally do it, as I'm entirely confident that this is going to happen. If we get it by Christmas, I think we all need to get our wallets out and give Paramount our money, because frankly we've been starved of good news from Paramount. So this is very welcome. All this nonsense with Discovery and with the J.J. Abrams failed Trek films, we really need some good news from Paramount. We really need to see some love given to pure Trek, to Prime Universe Trek. So that's the news. That's the episode. Get very excited about that. Obviously, it's very limited because there's not much information coming out. I will do another episode when I find more information. I'm sure because it's the 40th anniversary, they're going to do a whole slew of other special features, as well as including all the stuff that's previously been released. That's very common what they'll do. They maybe do 2 or 3 or 4, maybe special features, featurettes, and another making of or retrospective documentary, adding more stories and more depth to what's probably looking at the legacy by now, because we've got a really good making of and retrospective already that's been released on the DVD. But perhaps I'll look at the legacy, the lasting legacy of the motion picture, what it did, what it meant. And of course, some of the crew members have passed on, James Doohan, DeForest Kelley. So no doubt we'll probably be getting a little bit of love for those guys as well. So yes, exciting times for fans of pure Trek, for the original Prime Universe Star Trek. It's been a long, long time since we've had some stuff come out about that. So I'm very happy about that. Yes, the Star Trek, the motion picture, director's edition Blu-ray looks like it's finally happening. So keep an eye out for that, people. It's going to be an exciting time. Definitely something to add to the collection. Anyway, that's me, and that's this episode of Legion Logs. Now, yes, I did say I have been promoting the Star Trek Fact Files as my next episode, and that is going to be coming soon. What I'm going to be doing is breaking that up. That's going to be a 3-part episode, or 3 episodes covering that, because the fact files are so large and so in-depth and so involved. It literally contains every single piece of information you could possibly think of from pure Trek, from core Trek, true Star Trek. The original series, 10 movies, or 9 movies, I think, at the time, because the 10th hadn't been released, and Deep Space Nine, TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. But I'll be going to much more detail when I get that episode completed. So keep an eye for that. That will be next. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Legion Logs. Very exciting news announcement episode. quite fun. Hopefully, I can deliver more of these episodes. And yes, have a good day. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. It's the weekend as of this filming. So I hope wherever you are, you're enjoying good movies and good popcorn or good chocolate, however you whatever you enjoy when you're watching movies. Uh, Stay cool. Ciao.